All right, so we're going to do another Kevin Durant video today. Why? Well, because one, I really like Kevin Durant. I think I would like him on the Miami Heat. I mean, more importantly, I think the Heat should pick a direction because right now they are very clearly stuck in the play-in purgatory. They just lost yesterday to the Charlotte Hornets as they blew another double-digit lead. So they got to pick a direction, either sell Bam and Tyler, which I don't want to do, or go all in. Don't waste Bam Adebayo's prime just like you did Jimmy Butler's. And they can do that by getting a guy like Kevin Durant to help complement the rest of the pieces here. Now, another reason we're going to talk about Kevin Durant is because he is one of the few stars out there that we can pretty confidently say we know is going to get dealt in the offseason. We've heard Brian Windhorst report that, things aren't looking great there, and he's definitely on the move. So we're going to talk about KD today. We'll talk about him more later this season and off-season for sure, and I'll share my own thoughts and build some own trades, some of my own trades that I've been working on as well. But in today's video, I want to react to this Bleacher Report article that came out just yesterday, which is actually titled "One Trade Every Team Should Propose on the First Day of the 2025 Offseason." Now, they go through a bunch of different teams and players here, but a lot of them do center around Kevin Durant. So I want to see what our guy Greg Schwartz has to say. So when we talk about Heat trades for the rest of the season and offseason, we can kind of maybe use his opinion as a baseline for what other teams can sort of offer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Control F and just search for Kevin Durant and go through every mention of Kevin Durant in this article. So to start, it looks like he has Kevin Durant going to the Houston Rockets, which of course is one of the main teams that we've been hearing about. And in this trade, the Phoenix Suns will receive Jabari Smith Jr., Reed Sheppard, Dillon Brooks, Jacques Landale, and one first-round pick. Now, right off the rip, I see here that they're getting a couple of really nice young players. We saw the report just a couple of days ago that the Suns' asking price was going to be 3 first-round picks and 1 young player. Obviously, they're not going to get their asking price. They're going to get something less than that. So if they're asking for 4 pieces, maybe they get 3 of them. And in this case, I do think they're getting 3 pretty nice pieces in Jabari Smith Jr., Reed Sheppard, and that first-round pick. Now, Jabari Smith is someone who would fit in pretty seamlessly in Phoenix if they are kind of trying to win now, which you'd think they are, because why would Devin Booker want to go through another rebuild? So maybe a guy like Reed Sheppard is the best of both worlds. He could play that starting 4 spot next to Devin Booker and provide some spacing for him and obviously some defense. And then Reed Sheppard could be of great guard help to the Phoenix Suns as well. Reed Sheppard just dropped like a near 25-point triple-double the other day with Houston because he's finally getting some playing time. Of course, coming into the season, we thought he could be Rookie of the Year, but truthfully, that Rockets team is so deep with young talent, particularly in the backcourt, that Reed Sheppard really hasn't got a lot of time to play. But when he has played, he looks like he can be a future star in this league. So those are 2 enticing picks for the Suns. I'm not going to lie to you, but they are only getting that 1 first-round pick. Now, I don't think this is a bad package for Houston. I don't think this is a bad package for Phoenix. I know one of the things Phoenix is not going to want is long-term money. And I actually want to pull up the SPO track here in which we were looking at some contracts, which we'll continue to do throughout this video. And I want to see how much Dillon Brooks is getting paid right now. And see, this is the problem. Dillon Brooks has 3 years left on that contract, making a lot of money. Now, Dillon Brooks, as much as there's the memes and stuff with him talking trash to LeBron and walking out of press conferences, he's a good player. Is he $22 million a year good, which is what he's getting this year? I don't think so. And he's got $21 million next year and $20 million the year after that, in which he'll be 31 years old. So this is some long-term money for the Phoenix Suns that I don't think they'd really want. I'm not sure that this is a package they would accept now that I see this contract alone. And Jacques Landale's got 3 years left on his contract as well, even though he's only $8 million a year. So I anticipate this will probably be one of the better packages Phoenix can get with regards to young talent. But those non-expiring contracts, those long-term deals of Dillon Brooks and Jacques Landale, those aren't great for Phoenix. So I am curious to see what the rest of this article has. Looks like the next Kevin Durant trade they have here is to the Clippers, who would be kind of interesting. A team that's they tried their whole Kawhi and Paul George thing, obviously didn't work out. They sold off Paul George. We really didn't know what the Clippers were going to look like. But you come into the season, Norman Powell's a borderline all-star, same with Ivica Zubac, and that team is hooping. Kawhi Leonard just hit a game winner the other day. James Harden's been balling all season. So their 2 stars are still playing really well as well. And now if you add in Kevin Durant into that, maybe they could be contenders for a Western Conference Finals, maybe make a finals if the ball bounces their way. So I do think Kevin Durant to the Clippers is an intriguing idea. In this scenario, the Suns are receiving Kawhi Leonard. What the? I'm over here talking about a big three of Kawhi, Harden, and KD. See, this is why I got to read these articles before I start recording, because this is insane. Well, I kind of like to give my live reaction too. That's why I didn't want to proofread the article. But Kawhi Leonard for Kevin Durant. The Suns are also getting Cam Christie and one first-round pick, and then a first-round pick swap. Yeah, and now they're trying to. It's the article. I'm just reading what Greg Schwartz has to say. He's saying that they're going to try to pair Kevin Durant with James Harden again. It didn't work 5 years ago. Why would it work now? A core of Durant, Harden, Norman Powell, Zubac, Bogdan Bogdanovic, Derrick Jones Jr., Chris Dunn would make a real statement in the West. I mean, a healthy Kevin Durant or Kawhi Leonard is probably nearly as good as a healthy KD still. And I know you get a healthy KD much more often than you get a healthy Kawhi, but nah, this is an insane trade. I suppose if Phoenix wanted to do the whole disgruntled star swap like we saw, when was the last time we saw one of those? Ben Simmons and James Harden, if you can call both those guys stars. Anthony Davis for Luka Doncic. I guess you don't see the star for star swap often, especially when both of them aren't disgruntled. It doesn't seem like Kawhi is in this case. But yeah, this is an insane trade. But hey, if the Suns are delusional enough to think they can compete now with Booker and Kawhi, I guess they would do this, but nah, that's a wild trade. Moving on here, we do have the Miami Heat, in which the Heat are obviously getting Kevin Durant. From a fit standpoint, I think he would be awesome. He's one of the best fourth quarter scorers in the league, and the Heat are one of the worst fourth quarter scoring teams. I think it would be a match made in heaven, although I understand the pushback from all the Heat fans saying that you would only have Kevin Durant for like 2 seasons at his prime at max. I don't care. I really think you'd have a championship window with Bam Adebayo in the East, so I would do it. But let's see what Greg Schwartz has sending Phoenix. He has us sending over Khalil Ware, Terry Rozier, Duncan Robinson, and a 2025 first-round pick and a 2031 first-round pick unprotected. Wow, okay, so Suns are still getting their three of the 4 pieces that we talked about earlier with the Rockets trade. They're getting the 2 picks and then Khalil Ware. Truthfully, I think the Heat can get this done without Khalil Ware, whether that means just sending Jaime Jaquez, whether that means sending Jaquez and Jovic. It really depends on who is Kevin Durant's list. If Durant says, I want Houston or Dallas or Miami, then yeah, Miami will definitely have to cough up Nikola Jovic as well, because I think Jovic still has some trade value. I don't think Jaime Jaquez has a lot of trade value. So any Heat fans that are saying, oh, you can't trade Khalil Ware, just swap him for Jaime Jaquez, it doesn't work like that. You might as well say, swap the 2 first-round picks for 2 seconds and swap Kevin Durant for Anthony Edwards and call it a deal. No, it don't work like that. You got to give to get. And personally, would I be willing to do this trade with Khalil Ware? I'd be hesitant. I really would, because I think part of the reason this Heat team could be a contender next year if they got Kevin Durant is because they would have a very, very great front court of Bam Adebayo, KD, and Ware. If you don't have Ware on that young, cheap contract, you're going to have to rely on another veteran minimum big like a Bryant, Dwayne Dedmon, Cody Zeller. We've been through this. You need size to win in this league. And I don't see an avenue, considering they'd be paying Durant, Bam, and Hero so much, I don't see an avenue to get a really quality center if they were to lose Khalil Ware. So I would be hesitant. If you could get this deal done without Khalil Ware, like I was saying, I would do it. I would trade a Jaime, and as much as I love Jovic, I love Jaime too, but I would trade both of those guys with the 2 first-round picks. And the reason that I think the Suns might go for this is because, contrary to the Dillon Brooks and Jacques Landale long-term contracts, both Terry Rozier and Duncan Robinson are expiring after next year, meaning that next year is the last year on their deals. That's one of the reasons I've been saying so often, and we will get another full video dedicated to this topic, eventually when I find some time to really research it. But one of the reasons I think the Heat have an advantage in these Kevin Durant talks is because how many teams will have enough expiring money to match KD's $54 million? Not a lot of teams. But in this case, the Heat have Terry, they have Duncan. And having just 2 expiring contracts of that value and not having to distribute it amongst 100 players to send over to the Suns, I do think that is real value there. I really do. And obviously the Heat would just have to decide which one of their young assets they want to part with. But yeah, I love this trade for the Heat. And truthfully, so far, I think it's the best trade Phoenix can get, because I don't see any way they can trade Kevin Durant and still build a win-now team. they're better off just selling. There's reports out there. They got like a 4 first-round pick offer for Devin Booker. So if you get these 2 for KD, 4 for D Book, now you're starting your rebuild with at least 6 first-round picks, whatever young pieces the Heat give, and then whatever else you get for Devin Booker. That's not a bad start, in my opinion. So I like this trade both ways. Moving on, it looks like they have KD going to the Timberwolves, another team we've heard is a real threat to try to land him. And in this trade, obviously, with Minnesota, he'd be awesome, assuming they're keeping Anthony Edwards. I don't know what they're going to do with their big spots. I kind of hate Rudy Gobert. I don't love Julius Randle. Those two haven't really worked out great, although the team has been playing better of late. But it looks like the Phoenix Suns are sending over Jaden McDaniels. Oh, that's so funny considering Anthony Edwards had that famous quote, a year ago saying, oh, they have KD, but we got Jaden McDaniels. And there was a series where Jaden McDaniels did look like Kevin Durant, at least for a few plays or whatever it was. So it's kind of funny that now the Suns would be sending over Jaden McDaniels. They would be sending over Rob Dillingham, man. It's hard not to love Rob. I do think he's a nice young piece. Dante DiVincenzo is obviously a really great shooter. And then just 1 first-round pick here. So, I mean, you're getting 2 really solid win-now pieces, a really nice young future piece. If you're the Suns and Rob Dillingham, the 1 first-round pick, this is maybe if the Suns were trying to do, again, the best of both worlds thing. But that starting lineup in Phoenix would be what? I mean, whatever point guard they end up getting, if it's not Tyus Jones or whoever. But Tyus Jones, Booker, does Dante come off the bench in this spot? Jaden McDaniels. I mean, what Ryan Dunn, I don't know. I don't think this is a particularly amazing trade for the Suns. I don't think, Jaden McDaniels, let me see what his contract's looking like. Because I'm also curious how old he is. Jaden McDaniels is one of those guys that might actually be pretty sneaky young. So let's see what he comes up in as. Jaden McDaniels, wow, he's on a long-term deal here. He just signed his rookie extension, so he's actually under contract all the way up until 28 years old, which means he has 5 years left on his deal, including this one. And he'll be making $25 to $30 million. That's a lot of money for a guy with those kind of offensive inconsistencies. So just back to the Heat perspective, would the Suns rather have Jaden McDaniels making $30 million or Nikola Jovic making, what's he going to command? He's up for rookie extension too. Is he going to get 20? I don't think Jovic will get much more than that. I'm not even sure he gets that much. But obviously, I do think there's more potential there with Nikola Jovic, although he's nowhere near the defender Jaden McDaniels is. I should acknowledge Jaden McDaniels and the defense he provides would be perfect in Phoenix. I just don't think he has as high an upside as a guy like Nikola Jovic, and he's getting paid lots of money as a guy who I don't think has a ton of upside. He has shown in flashes he can score. Maybe if he was in a new situation as like the number 2 option, he could be the guy. But I just don't think that jump shot's super reliable. And he's only 24, so that's not super old. So he is an okay balance between a future pick and a win now. But if that's the centerpiece, that really is the centerpiece for your KD trade if you're Phoenix here. Unless you're talking about Dillingham, 1 first-round pick, they have a top 13 protected. Maybe I'm biased, but I think the Heat trade is better. I do. Let me know what y'all think down below. Moving on here, it looks like they have the Mavericks going after Kevin Durant. God, as bad as things have been for the Heat, something that is helping keep me sane is I'm saying that at least we're not the Mavericks. I don't got to tell y'all what kind of hell that fan base has gone through. But in this trade, it has Kevin Durant going to Dallas, which, if Kyrie plays next year, that's a big if at this point. He just tore his ACL. Maybe he'll be ready for sometime in the middle of next season. That'd be best case scenario. If Anthony Davis is able to play, nasty big 3. Needless to say. All older guys, all guys who you don't know how much longer is in their prime. You got injury concerns. But if they're healthy, nasty. So I do kind of get it from the Mavericks perspective. From the Suns side, they'd be receiving Klay Thompson, PJ Washington, Daniel Gafford, Max Christie, and 1 first-round pick. So Suns are finally getting a few pieces with some good size here that they've been desperately needing for years. And now Dallas is losing a lot of the size here. I suppose they would still have they still have Derek Lively, I guess, is not in this trade, and obviously Anthony Edwards. So I still think Dallas would be okay from a size perspective. Phoenix is getting some more well-rounded pieces than just a bunch of guards that they've been having. But again, PJ Washington is okay for win now, but the rest of the people, or I guess Max Christie too, is also good for the future and win now. So again, this one is better. As far as not including the Heat, I like this better than the Timberwolves package. I like it better than the Rockets package. I think Phoenix could be a formidable play-in team, I suppose. Depending on how well Devin Booker's playing, they could be a formidable play-in team, meaning, 8th to 10th seed in the Western Conference. But there's really no clear direction here. It almost seems like they're trying to do the whole 2 timeline thing, which I don't love from their perspective. I really don't. Let's look at Klay Thompson's contract. I was gonna say, because with the Heat thing, the package was 2 first-round picks and Khalil Ware. It's all young. And obviously Terry and Tyler or Terry and Duncan are the expirings. They're not a part of the future. But you look at Klay Thompson, 3 years left on his deal. Let's look at Daniel Gafford here too. So these are just guys that the Suns would have to hold on to for multiple years, and it just doesn't make sense for them to, and Gafford would be an expiring though. But yeah, it's not a terrible trade if the Suns wanted to try to still put a competitive roster out, but just long term, I don't think that's necessarily the right move for them. But let's move on here. I think that was it. So what we see, like 4 or 5 different trades here. I guess we saw Houston, the Clippers, Minnesota, Miami, and Dallas. I think those are the 5 trades we saw. So yeah, let me know y'all thoughts down below. Which trade package do you think is the best? If I'm going to be biased, I'm going to say Miami, just because we know for a fact the Suns are not going to want long-term money, and they would not be getting that in this trade. And if they do decide to get off Devin Booker, taking Miami's deal would mean they have a young player, at least one young player, picks, nothing else with regards to contract-wise. They would have a clean slate on the salary cap, and I really think that is invaluable. But anyways, that's all I got to say for this video. I'm very curious to see what y'all think, so leave your comments down below. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Think I'm missing anything else? Don't think so. See y'all on the next one. Peace out, everyone.
Look, pull up in your city, tryna get that dead face. Do it on my own, I don't need no dead weight. Had to kill him off, yeah, I need a head space. You know this homegrown bitch don't offend me.